All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another session of Celebrity Court of Public Opinion, where the scales of justice meet the spotlight of fame. Tonight, we delve into cases that blur the lines between celebrity allure and legal accountability. From a convicted murderer seeking freedom to a former NFL star facing a hefty judgment. From a music mogul's appeal denial to a controversial rebranding on social media, and not to forget a tragic fraternity hazing incident that has us questioning the very essence of brotherhood. First, we revisit the haunting legacy of Selena as her murderer, Yolanda Saldivar, claims to be a political prisoner ahead of her parole eligibility. Is this a genuine plea or a manipulative bid for freedom? Next, former NFL star Le'Veon Bell has been ordered to pay $25 million in a sexual assault case. With no criminal charges filed, he explored the implications of civil liability and its impact on his tarnished legacy. Then notorious Suge Knight finds no solace as his 28-year sentence appeal is denied. We dissect the downfall of a once powerful mogul and the finality of his legal battles. In a twist of public perception, Casey Anthony, acquitted in the death of her daughter, resurfaces as a legal advocate on TikTok. Oh my gosh, what's going on? This is where we question the boundaries of redemption and the public's capacity for forgiveness. And lastly, the tragic death of Caleb Wilson. During a fraternity hazing ritual leads to multiple arrests. A third one has now been named, his face has been given a name, has been given a face. We confront the dark side of brotherhood and the lethal consequences of tradition. Buckle up as we navigate these compelling narratives, challenge the status quo, and seek the truth amidst the chaos. Court is now in session. Let's introduce our legal beagles joining us tonight. First off, and the book that we all love, Shit They Never Taught You in Law School, Attorney Jason Weiss. Welcome back to Celebrity Court.
Thank you, Your Honor. I'm so excited to be here. We got some great stories tonight, and I can't wait.
All right. Don't forget to jump in the chat with the emoji. What is your emoji? The shield.
The shield to protect you.
That's right. The shield emoji. All right. Joining Jason tonight, we have the one, the only fiery civil attorney, Shatan Turner. Shatan Turner, welcome back to Celebrity Court.
Back. How are all of you? Hey, Jason. Hope your fan comes back. She really likes you.
Messy, and she's messy. All right, and pulling up the rear, definitely not last and definitely not least. Let's welcome, don't forget with Shatan. Shatan's emoji is the blue heart. Fire. Oh, the fire. That's right. And last but not least, humorist at law, Sean Carter. Sean Carter, welcome back to Celebrity Court.
How you doing, Your Honor? I'm gonna keep my glasses on, but from now on, I will be referred to as a legal advocate.
Okay, legal advocate. He wants to be a legal advocate now,
Everybody's doing it.
Law degree or not, you could be a legal advocate.
All right, advocates.
We're selling packages, $199.99. We're giving a discount.
Hey, y'all, I hope they give us some more super chats tonight.
Oh, yeah, wasn't it great? Come on with it. All right, and with Attorney Carter, don't forget to throw that, what is it? The
clown emoji.
Clown emoji in the chat. And also, be sure to throw in that fax emoji for me. And if you want to do us all a favor, please hit that like button. Also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. If you already subscribed, hit the share button and invite some friends over to learn the law on the back of these crazy celebrities that keep getting in trouble with the law. Don't forget to turn on your notifications. And as always, we love it when you drop down into the comments. Riri, thank you. LOL, starting with the mess early tonight. All right, you already know. SL, thank you for joining us tonight. League Wild Coyote Smith, thank you for joining us. Thank you, thank you. Abby NYC, Danielle Cameron, our old faithfuls, we love you. Venetia Phillips, thank you, as always, joining. Pisces Unicorn, thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, first on the docket, Yolanda Saldivar, the woman who murdered a teenage superstar Selena in 1995, is up for parole in 2025. Saldivar now claims she feels like a political prisoner. She's alleging unfair treatment due to Selena's enduring legacy. She maintains the shooting was accidental and believes she should be released. But is this a genuine claim or a manipulative tactic? All right, Sean Carter, we're going to go to you because it seems like you know a lot about this. How could this be a manipulative tactic if she served 30 years already?
Exactly. Now, here's the thing is, though, she was sentenced not to 30 years, but to life, all right, in prison without the possibility of parole for 30 years. That 30 years is going to be March 30th of this month, so that she didn't get a 30-year sentence, right? 30 years as soon as she can get out. And so what she has to convince them is that in Texas, she deserves to be out. And by the way, Texas doesn't play that. You know, Texas, right? And you could possibly get out if your name was Jesus and last name Christ, and you better have papers. You know, you got to have papers, period. Jesus ain't gonna work for you. You got to have papers, all right? From the motherland and from Jerusalem. Also, all right, it wouldn't work so well for you if you, her other problem is that she hasn't been very repentant. She still claims it's an accident. So one thing parole board always looks for is to say, okay, I know I did something wrong. I'm not going to do it again. Right? For her, it's hard for her to be able to claim that. Now, I do feel bad for her, though, because I just realized she's been in jail for 30 years in protective custody. She's been in a cell by herself 23 hours a day for 30 years, right? Because you can't let her out in general population because Selena got a lot of fans. And so she's been in protective custody all this time. I don't know. I'm a softie. I'm 30 years, but you know, I'm not on the Texas parole board, so I don't think it's going to work for her.
Right. Shatan, let me go to you real quick, because we know that Selena's family has still been very has been very, very strong in advocacy and talking against letting this woman out. And that's been for 30 years straight. How important is that family's statements or objections? Does that carry any weight in the parole process?
Absolutely. They do consider the fact on the victims of the crime, and it's a totality of the circumstances kind of analysis. And so, as Attorney Carter indicated, a sense of accountability for her actions would be beneficial to the parole board, because one of the things they're looking for as it relates to the defendant is a recognition that they are aware that what they did was wrong, because then that gives you a greater likelihood that they won't do it again, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so the reason the family statements are so important is because what the family wants to convey to the parole board is that there are victims, right? Selena lost her life, but then this is who she was. This is what a great loss it was to society. And we loved her, and justice is served by her suffering as much as she can. And that would be to keep her in prison.
Got it.
The other thing is that she's claiming that there was a bounty put out on her head in prison. So
I believe it.
I 100% believe it. The question is, if she got out, you don't think there's going to be a bounty on her head? She's probably the only thing keeping her alive is the fact that she's in solitary in prison. If she gets out and anybody gets wind, that lady, she's going to be no more. So look, if she's going to fight to get out, she's probably going to get killed on the outside very quickly.
All right, let's go to the algoritors real quick. Algoritors, let me ask this question for the algoritors. Algoritors, do you think Yolanda Saldivar should be granted parole, or does the severity of her crime warrant her to stay in prison for life? Jump down to the chat, everybody. Do you think that Yolanda should have, after serving 30 years, do you think Yolanda should have parole, or do you think that she should serve her life term because she took a life? Jump down in the chat real quick. All right, let's keep it moving. Next up, former NFL star Le'Veon Bell has been ordered to pay $25 million. Yes, you heard me correctly, $25 million after being found liable in a civil sexual assault case. Notably, Bell has not faced any criminal charges. Please note that. This raises questions about the disparities between civil and criminal proceedings and the broader implications of his career and public image. All right, let's go to you, Attorney Turner. Now, this is what's so interesting. He is being sued by a niece, correct?
Cousin.
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 Okay, a female cousin who is claiming that he had sex with her, right?
Mm-hmm.
When she was as young as 9 years old.
Six
or seven.
Yeah, 6 or 7.
That's even sicker.
I actually think the cherry on top of this Sunday is the video that he put out.
Right. Should we take a look?
I think we should. So then Attorney Turner can dive right on in.
All right, let's go.
25 million after Lady Y'all didn't respond to court. Let's talk about that too. Now the not responding in court thing, for one, chat. Let me be 100%, 1,000% honest with y'all. But I just found out this was brewing up maybe about 2 days ago. Somebody, it was like TMZ or one of these report outlets. They had hit me up on Twitter. It was like, no. Somebody from TMZ hit my phone. They texted my phone. I don't even know how they got my number, but TMZ, they got my number. Lady, we need to talk to you about a story that's brewing, we want to get your side of it. The first text, I ignored. I'm like, what the fuck you talking about? I don't even know what the hell you talking about. Ignore. Then like a day later, it was like, hey, we releasing the story tomorrow. Even though they didn't release the story tomorrow, but we're releasing the story tomorrow. Do you have a lawyer or attorney that we can talk to? When they always come to the game. So the 25 million, I guess, I just found out, chat, just like y'all found out.
All right, Attorney Turner, take it away. You're on mute.
So you want to talk about first the difference between civil and criminal and all that stuff. So why don't we talk about how we got here, and then we can dive into the different legal theories, because I think that'll be noteworthy. So first of all, you have him up there in his Jets uniform, but he was a Steeler for a while. And so that was one of the reasons why I wanted to talk about this case. I mean, I'm not running for office, so I can say it. The Steelers are pretty much the only fun thing going on in Pittsburgh. And so everybody tends to follow them. And the players tend to be more than stars. They tend to be neighbors because they're out in the community. You can get out and touch them pretty easily. They do lots of things. One of my favorite pictures of my daughter is when there's a picture of Franco Harris holding her when she was 2 years old, because they're just everywhere. Le'Veon, he was a bit different. So some of the younger players, they don't necessarily have the same polish as the older players like Franco did. And I wonder if back in the day, they like had some sort of Motown kind of like finishing school for players, which made them nicer. But anyway, so here's Le'Veon. He distinguished himself when he was in town because he was a bit of a rogue. But nobody saw this coming. I mean, you got to be a special kind of different if what it is true that he was doing what they say he was doing to his cousin. I mean, it was very graphic what he was accused of. And so it's easy to look at the headlines and see that he was found liable and had to pay $25 million and be like, oh, the horror. Oh, he's so guilty, even though the standard in civil matters is preponderance of the evidence. And he hasn't been found guilty of anything at all because he wasn't accused of a crime. He was sued civilly. And in civil cases, it's about money. Now, what about this case makes it different? He didn't show up for the trial. So this was no evidence was presented. This was a default judgment. A default judgment means that by virtue of the process, he was found guilty. So the lesson for algoriters is if you are sued for something, go to court. At a minimum, show up. You know what they say about life? The majority of what happens to you is just about showing up. That's the same thing here, because when you don't show up for court, you lose. And that's what happened to him. So in truth, nobody really knows if he did this to his cousin. Nobody really knows if the allegations are true or not, because nothing was tried. He was adjudicated because he didn't show up, and so he lost, but he was not tried. And so one of the things that they intend to do, he and his lawyer, is to try to get this trial verdict set aside on the grounds that he was not served properly. So he's been saying that it was served on him in Ohio. He didn't live there then. He's also, if the algoriters want to see some interesting comments online, he has a couple of videos like the one that we saw where he goes on a rant, right, about how these allegations are false, how he, paid for his cousin's rent, and when he decided not to pay, that's when she started making some allegations.
Well, wait a minute.
Then,
no, he said he paid for her hair, her nails, her rent, her car. Now he said he's been doing that for years.
Yep,
that's what he says. Yes, he
So
said that he also
that was
had
very weird to me.
but this is the guy.
He had her father on the payroll and her brother's on the payroll. He was saying he was bankrolling his family. So you're right, Al. I see where you're going. You like, I love my cousin too, but I'm not doing all that.
Right.
Right.
But
now, family, I get.
But he also didn't pay his own mortgage. His car got repossessed. His car. Something with his mom who was living at the house where supposedly, so there were a lot of bills.
And he got 6 baby mamas and 7 kids. So
7 kids. That's why he said he's
things, right. That's clearly got to be why he doesn't have any money.
Correct. And
I mean, it's hard. That's another lesson for the algoriters. I mean, it's a little bit of an aside for this, but if you want to keep more of your money, male algoriters, don't hoe around and have multiple baby mamas, because the court assesses your child support and you're paying different households. And even if you're in the league and you're paid at the time, right? So it's not a big deal to pay the 7 when you're in the league. When you're not in the league anymore and you're not bringing in that money, then it becomes a hardship, right? The other thing is that if it's true that he was carrying this side of his family with this cousin, people get used to the money, right? That becomes their expectation. And so he said he was having a rough month because, he's buying all that formula and feeding all those babies, and they didn't care. And they were like, we want our money. Personally, I don't know the cousin. To leap to, I was the victim of, sexual assault by my cousin for numerous years because he didn't pay my bills. Unless she has some serious mental health issue, I would be hard pressed to think that was the motivation. But what do I know? People lie all the time.
So let me ask you this.
He's only worth $12 million, by the way, is from what I saw. So the fact that he's worth $12 million and this is a $25 million judgment, we know she's not going to get $25 million. And so now he's trying to figure out how to set it aside.
Well, that's my next question, attorneys. How did they come up with a $25 million judgment?
The jury heard all the facts and the jury got to make the decision on what they felt she was entitled to. I mean,
so there was a jury in this case.
There was a jury in this case, and look, what I like about this case is it shows that it doesn't matter your celebrity status. It doesn't matter that you have a football field in Gravaport, Madison, named after you. If you don't show up and you don't participate, you do not win. And that's the one thing that I think is important, and it kind of leveled the playing field here. His huge celebrity status meant absolutely nothing to this jury. Now, he's going to try to set this aside. I don't know if he's going to be able to, because in order to set it aside, you need to show that you didn't know about it. You acted as quickly as humanly possible to let the court know that, oh my God, I didn't know about it, and this is a mistake. And you have to go ahead and show a meritorious defense. It can't just be, oh no, that wasn't me. You have to actually put on your defense at that point in time, because you can't just say, no, I shouldn't be sued. I didn't show up and let's go ahead and open it up. No, it's, I didn't do this. And here is the rationale, and here is the proof. The other thing is, there is no criminal charges brought yet. It's a 25-year statute of limitations on the R word in Ohio, and it's a 20-year statute of limitations having to do with sexual misconduct towards a minor. So
Was
this
is she claiming that she was the R word?
Yes, when she was 6 years old.
Well, I mean, if she's underage, it is, right?
Right. But
Whether she consents or not.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, there's no consent if you're under the age of consent, and none of the states have 6 as that age.
No.
What does she have to do? Well, actually, she's in a good space, right? She's filed the lawsuit and she's won. What does he have to do in order to get this tried again, maybe, or thrown out?
Yeah. To get the default set aside and give him the opportunity to have his due process right and his day in court. And there is a chance that, the judge might be concerned about an appeal. And if he could say, look, I wasn't served, got the process server, got the papers, got nothing, I didn't know about it. The problem is if he's going on social media and saying all this stuff and his attorneys aren't filing papers by now, judge is going to be like, wait, you're on social media and it's March 10, March 12. This judgment came down. You got it.
Here's one of the interesting things about this to me. Now, granted, families can be messy, right? But by his account, he was close to this cousin because she was traveling with him. They were doing things together.
Right.
And so one of the things that I found odd was the energy with which he described things on the video. So he was using graphic terms like, I can F anybody. I got 6 baby mamas. I don't need to F my cousin, right? No one needs to do that, right? So there's sickos who do that. So I thought his description of it was a bit odd. And then in one of the videos, he brings in this unrelated matter that has nothing to do with any allegations in this lawsuit, but just for gratuitous commentary, he says, I could sleep with a man if I want to.
Oh, yeah.
Nobody was asking him about that. Yeah, nobody was asking about that. It's like they have on Instagram, nobody, Le'Veon Bell. I could sleep with a man if I want to. Like, no. So I don't even know what that was about. But so the whole thing in his denial was suspicious to me, because I would have thought if he was talking about a cousin that he was close to who must have significant mental health issues, if this is not true, that he would have expressed it with a little more care.
I just find it very interesting that if the person did have mental health issues, or if she was making this up, that it could lead to this, that it could get to this point, right? I mean, it just seems very sad to me that some people are able to manipulate the legal system and the process.
You got to remember the other thing. This is the guy that sat out the entire 2018 season because he didn't get, because the team franchised him and he didn't get the money he wanted. So what did he do? I'm sitting out. I ain't playing. So that lets you know the mentality that he kind of still feels like he's invincible. He's untouchable.
Yeah, that's probably why he probably didn't pay attention. He probably was told. He probably was like, "Oh, this is a joke, man. Get out of here." She's not going to do anything.
I'm a hero in Pittsburgh. Nobody's coming after me.
Yeah, that's so weird. All right, everybody, let's keep it going. Let's ask the algorithms, though. Does a civil liability judgment without criminal conviction change your perception of Le'Veon Bell's guilty or innocent? Let's ask this a good one, because this is a good one. Does a civil liability judgment without criminal conviction change your perception on whether he did or did not assault his cousin? Drop down in the chat. Next up, Suge Knight, the former CEO of Death Row Records, has had his appeal to overturn a 28-year sentence for voluntary manslaughter denied. Knight pleaded no contest to killing Terry Carter in a 2015 hit-and-run incident. This marks a significant point in the legal saga of a man once at the pinnacle of the music industry. All right, Jason, let's go to you. What does a no contest plea limit opportunities for appeal? What does a no contest plea limit mean? What does that mean?
Well, so basically what happened is this. He went ahead and he was sentenced in 2023. And he's claiming that his defense was hindered by issues having to do with that he was in housing, he had bad assistance from his lawyer, the COVID-19, he lost sight in an eye. Like, he gave all of these reasons, right? And all of these reasons, yeah, he claims he lost sight in one of his eyes.
And so look, because he lost sight in his eye, he couldn't do what?
Participate in the defense of his lawsuit. Now, look, these are all valid grounds, right? These are all grounds as to why his appeal should be heard, not his sentence overturned and all of this. He waited too long. And that's, again, just like Le'Veon Bell had that, he let it go and he waited too long. And that's what the problem is, that he had a certain amount of time that you're allowed to go ahead and file this appeal, and he blew the time. And the judge said that because he did this and he blew this time, that's why. He said he wasn't sincere and he wasn't timely, so therefore he's not giving to him. Now remember, he was sentenced to 28 years in prison after he pleaded guilty. So it's not like the jury found him guilty and let's appeal. He pleaded guilty.
So then how can he plead no contest now?
So he is claiming that his attorney at the time gave him ineffective assistance of counsel, and the attorney, and I don't know why attorneys would say this, and it's not good, made it clear he had no other choice. Okay,
I believe that. I believe that there are a lot of attorneys. I'm sorry. I believe that there are a lot of attorneys that don't give black males good legal advice. Especially the ones that are used to especially the ones that are used to like trying the same crap, seeing the same crap on their desk. I hear those conversations that they have, and they're not positive. They want to figure out some way to get to the next case because their pile is full. And a lot of them do not care about black men.
But he didn't have a public defender. He had money at the time. He had everything at the time. So if you're consulting with the lawyer and the lawyer says, "Look, your best chance is to plead guilty and roll the dice." Excuse me, I'd like a second opinion before I plead guilty and go to prison. And
so I definitely agree with that. But I'm gonna tell you, I had a lawyer who was Donald Trump's lawyer, who was Arnold Schwarzenegger's lawyer. And when it came to me, that lawyer, divorce lawyer, when it came to me, Jason, I got horrible advice.
You did?
Horrible advice. Number one divorce attorney in the country. I got horrible advice. You want to know why? Because he felt that a young black man, right? Instead of giving me all my legal options, that a young black man, he knew how and what he wanted me to have.
And again, that's ineffective assistance of counsel. Right. And in this case, Suge Knight, I think he had reasonable grounds for an appeal. The problem is he took too long. It's clear that the petitioner was not isolated or helpless as he wishes the court to believe. He was able to file a writ in a timely manner had he chosen to do so. He also said that he was untimely and did not find him. It took too long to file and it was not sincere. Now, Suge Knight's lawyer says he doesn't agree with the ruling and he's finding the decision to be shocking and unconscionable and all this and all that. But why didn't this lawyer, file the appeal for him? There's a why. Go ahead.
Let me tell you why. Because he has YouTube, and he saw the video that we saw that was going to be on TMZ of him running over folks, and he knew damn well he wasn't going to get out. You know how guilty you are when you plead no contest, which is just a form of guilty. All right.
Yeah.
No contest, and you're going to be out when you're 80. That's how you know you're guilty, right? If you're willing to, why would you roll the dice? right? Maybe you
Right.
get, one of the jurors is a Snoop fan or something. You would think that you would try to roll the dice. That's how guilty
Right.
you are.
Right.
That
I mean,
you know.
right. That's the
In Los
thing.
Angeles, you figure they play some music in the background to get the crowd
Absolutely.
hyped, like just
Right.
to make them see that he's responsible for death row, right? You play
There you
California Love and all that stuff, but no, you can't do
Bam.
that in the courtroom. But
But
the thing is, though, I think I would like to make this point because I think it's important. We do know that Black men do get ineffective assistance of counsel more often. And
Right.
we also know there's a different standard for rich Black men. And I would say this,
Yeah.
the reason that I am not suspicious about him having this ineffective assistance of counsel, but it could be true, I don't know, is because Shook was also not, criminal case naive. He was somebody who had been accused of a lot of stuff over the years. He knows about pleading. The
Right.
person who knows more about the criminal law process than
They
lawyers
exercise
are
it.
the criminals who get caught a lot and they're always in and out of court, right? And he had been investigated over, the Tupac stuff. He had been investigated for holding guns up to people's head when they didn't sign, record deals. He had been involved in the criminal legal system lots of times. And so I think that Jason's right that his lawyer probably dropped the ball on the appeal, but the plea, I think, as Attorney Carter indicated, he took it because he knew that he didn't have a choice, because he was like,
Right.
he would have been charged with murder, right? So he took voluntary manslaughter because it was a lesser degree. He has a chance for parole. He has that out there. But look, 28 years. I don't know. I mean, he should have. Look, he probably should have rolled the dice. But hindsight 2020.
He'll be out in if he serves the whole time, 2046. That man is a couple years older than me.
What other legal options do he have?
Now?
Yeah.
He can file the same kind of thing. He filed what's called a writ of habeas corpus, which is a Latin word for I'm gonna lose. But basically, it's what it is. It always is.
Yeah.
All right. But he filed that in state court. So he can go to federal court and lose there too. But one of the things the federal court's going to say is, it's like your father when you go ask him, can you go somewhere? What'd your mama say? And they say, hey, what did California say?
Oh, what did California say?
And then California said, I can't go. Then you can't go to Cindy's house, right? And so chances are excellent he's not going to Cindy's house.
Yeah.
All right,
Here's what I
everybody.
would do if I was him. I would file disciplinary charges against my lawyer, saying that they're why I messed up, and invite some additional scrutiny on it. That's what I would do if
Yeah,
he gets
If you're listening, Attorney Turner, she's ready to go ahead and help you with that and do whatever.
Oh, no, I didn't want him to call me. He's not my type, but yeah, he can go find somebody else.
But Christine R got it. Dude, you got two hots in a cot. Don't get out right now. The United States is expensive right now.
Never, not one lie told. Not
No.
one.
And if Suge, if you are listening, I don't think you did it, brother. All right, we
Really?
good.
That's
We good. That's what I'm doing. You seen the way he drove over that fool? I can't run that fast. All right.
All right, Algorators.
I didn't see you do nothing.
Algorators, do you believe Suge Knight's sentence is justified, or has he been unfairly treated by the legal system? Drop down in the chat. Do you believe Suge Knight's sentence is justified, or has he been unfairly treated by the legal system? All right, everybody, please do us a favor as you enjoy tonight's show. Can you please just hit that like button just one more time? Hit that like button. Also, hit that subscribe button. If you're already subscribed, hit the share button and invite some folks over to enjoy the show. Last but not least, don't forget to turn on your notifications and continue to jump down in the comments. Michelle Lampkin says, hey, Sean Carter, no slip, no bra, no pen. Order in the court. Order in the court. What is going? Oh my goodness! I hope your wife is paying attention.
Sucky now.
I hope you stop reading the comments. We're gonna get us all stabbed in here.
We're gonna get us all canceled. JP,
I'm turning red on that one for you.
JP Mills says Suge needs to stay in there. Ain't nobody checking for him. All right, Jeanette Hunter said justified. Deliria Washington said he's guilty. Abby NYC said he did run a man over, but I don't think he beat Michelle. All right.
No, she's talking about Michelle.
Michelle.
Oh, Michelle. Okay.
Beating Michelle. That's Dr. Dre, who allegedly beat Michelle.
You know what? Y'all
Suge was married to Michelle, though. It was very incestuous in Death Row. Yeah, why do I know that? Don't ask.
All right, in case that y'all cutting up tonight in this chat, they are cutting up in this chat. Something bad. All right, let's keep it moving. This is a story that everybody's been waiting for. Casey Anthony. Yep, that Casey Anthony. Welcome back to Celebrity Court. Acquitted in 2011 for the alleged murder of her 2-year-old daughter, Kaylee, has reemerged as a legal advocate on TikTok. She claims to use her platform to fight for justice and support underrepresented communities. However, the public backlash has been intense, with so many questioning her motives and her credibility. All right, Sean Carter, this is the story of the night. What in the hell is going on? Now, help me understand. Isn't this the lady, right, who had the mother of a 2-year-old, who for 30 days never went to the police?
She's busy.
31 days.
31 days, never went to the police, finally went to the police, made up stories about it was with her nanny kidnapped her, but she doesn't have a nanny. Something about the dad did something. Take it from here, Attorney Carter. How in the hell is this woman walking free?
You know, I still am trying to figure this out, especially when Nancy Grace got on her, right? Because you know, if Nancy get on you in the 2000s, you in trouble. But yeah, so this woman, just as you said, all right, 31 days, doesn't say anything. Finally, her mother calls and says, I think my grandbaby, I can't find my grandbaby. They go to her and say, hey, where's your baby? She's like, well, I don't know. She'll call when she get a 2-year-old. Now think about it. Who has a 2-year-old that if you haven't seen your 2-year-old for 2 hours, you in trouble. All right, you know something's broke, something's wrong. 31 days.
No, she was with the nanny. She was with the imaginary nanny. It's okay, Attorney Carter.
She out in the club, getting it in, all that stuff. They bring her to trial, and it looks like open shut. It's like, look, and by the way, they find the body, by her house. By the way, in the woods near her house,
in a laundry bag.
and
it's an open shut
case. Bones in a laundry bag.
But here's what happened, and this is where she got off. And this is what in 2011, about the early 2000s, there was an automatic defense for any crime you ever committed, which was my daddy touched me when I was little. All right. That's exactly what she did. It's what that Susan Smith woman did when she killed all the kids, right? She went to the court and said, hey, I know this looks bad, but my daddy touched me when I was little. And you know what? My daddy did it. All right. And basically they use, reasonable doubt, right? It's like, well, maybe it was your daddy, maybe it was you. And somehow this jury of people, it's Florida, so we can understand that.
You're welcome.
Right. Florida said, hey, sounds reasonable to me. I do that. I don't know where my kids are either. All right. And so they end up letting her off. And so she gets out. And then she decides, and I shouldn't explain what she's trying to do now. Listen to the video. She can explain to you exactly what she's trying to do for us now. We got the video?
Here we go.
We're sweat to death. Okay. Today is Saturday, March 1st, 2025. This is my first of probably many recordings on a series that I'm starting. I am a legal advocate. I am a researcher. I've been in the legal field since 2011. And in this capacity, I feel that it's necessary, if I'm going to continue to operate appropriately as a legal advocate, that I start to advocate for myself and also advocate for my daughter. For those of you who don't know, my name is Casey Anthony. My daughter is Kaylee Anthony. My parents are George and Cindy Anthony. This is not about them. This is not in response to anything that they have said or done. That's not to say that I'm not going to respond at some point to some of the things that they have said and done. The whole point of this is for me to begin to reintroduce myself. I'm doing this both personally for me, but in a professional capacity. Moving forward, the majority of what you will see will be me speaking in a professional capacity. My goal is to continue to help give a voice to people, to give people tools and resources that they can utilize so they actually know where they can turn to. So with that, please join me on Substack. If you have questions, I will set up an email address where we can correspond directly. Up until this point, that has never happened. And it's only going to be on a limited basis regarding legal issues.
But if you need, I cannot watch if you need to hide child's bones, call her. She'll give you a good place to go. She'll be able to help you with getting away and convincing a jury. I mean, look, no remorse right there. I mean, I don't understand how she feels entitled to come back on social media and label herself an advocate. I love how she said, "I've been working." No, you've been a part of the legal system. Exactly. You ain't been working. You've been a part of the legal system for 15 years, and I'll give you that. But working in the legal system, being a part of it is not working. She beat the legal system. That's what she did. Right. So she should be teaching a class on, you did it, let me help you get off. That's her class.
That's probably what she should write a book about.
Yeah.
She really should, but then she'd have to admit her guilt, but double jeopardy would prevent her from being
that's it.
convicted again. So that the thing that people don't, I mean, maybe they remember, but just to remind the algoriters, she went through an entire trial and was found not guilty when the entire world believed she was open and shut. And her mother thought she should go to prison for killing that baby. And the jurors found her not guilty. And apparently the jurors were split initially, and because the jurors have talked about it, and they were like, let's vote again. And then it came like there were more who were saying she was not guilty. And they were like, are we really going to let her go home? And then they kept voting, and then everybody agreed. And there you go. They met the standard. And so it's one of those things when they say like all those cliches about the legal system, justice is blind, or you can't beat City Hall. Well, justice was not blind then. They saw a pretty white girl who looked innocent, and they ignored the evidence. And she did beat City Hall because she was up for murder of her child. One thing that we can all unite around, regardless of politics, right, is that we don't like people who kill their children. And yet she walks free.
Yeah, no, it's amazing. And I love the fact that she's now a legal advocate. To me, that'd be like if Jeffrey Dahmer, all right, opened up a vegan restaurant. All right. Because you know how he likes his meat, right? Think about it. Jeffrey's veggies is not going to be a thing because Jeffrey's going to have his meat, right? What's
black meat too, right? He like dark meat.
Yeah. How's she going to? I mean, I guess you can tell you, only advice she can give you is go to Florida and be kind of cute white woman and blame it on your daddy.
Central Florida, because it was in Orlando and Orange County. But I remember that there was something that they interviewed one of the jurors afterwards, and the juror said something like, none of us really liked Casey Anthony and all. Like, she seemed like a horrible person, but the prosecutors did not give us enough evidence to convict. They showed us a lot of stuff that she probably did something wrong, but there wasn't enough to reach their burden.
Okay, how about waiting 31 days to report that your daughter that's 2 years old is gone? That's guilty to me. Oh, don't piss me off. All right, let's go to
the other thing is,
but they really liked her lawyer. That's the other lesson.
No, they did not like. Oh no, they did. They did not like. Right, you're correct.
Right. Prosecutor. They really liked her lawyer. So the message for the algoriters too is to find a really compassionate lawyer that don't engage in crime. That's the first lesson for the algoriters. Right. But if you happen to get caught up in something, I just wanted to be clear. If you happen to get caught up in something and you're not guilty, get a compassionate lawyer that can connect with the jurors, because everybody thought that her lawyer was the only one in the room that really cared.
He was excellent.
All right.
One more thing. Talia makes an excellent point.
Okay, hold on, guys. I can't. This has got me.
I know. But she does make an excellent point, though.
I don't
And she says,
understand this.
I know, but here's the thing is, and she
don't
makes this
get
word
it.
to help me explain it. Talia says that was neglect, not murder. And one of the criticisms of the prosecutor was that he overcharged. If he had charged with neglect, then it's obvious that if you wait 31 days, you've been neglectful.
Yep.
But it is not necessarily the case that you can prove murder from the 31-day wait. And so the concept is that the prosecutor might have tried to overcharge. He didn't have fingerprints, forensic. They did have one thing though. They had her searches on her computer where she had searched chloroform and some other things. So, but you know, yeah, how to crush bones. Yeah, exactly, right. I don't know.
What kind of jewelry can you make from bones? What kind of drinks?
All right, guys.
Yeah,
All
exactly.
right. I gotta go. Sorry. All right. Last and final story. That one. Ugh.
Al's got a bone to pick with that one. All right, sorry.
Stop it.
Tragedy has struck Southern University with the death of a 20-year-old student, Caleb Wilson, during an alleged hazing ritual associated with Omega Psi Phi fraternity. Reports indicate that Wilson was subjected to severe physical abuse, leading to his untimely death. Multiple fraternity members have been arrested, and they're facing charges ranging from criminal hazing to manslaughter. This incident has reignited the debate over hazing practices and the responsibilities of educational institutions and fraternities in safeguarding student welfare. All right, I'm going to go back to you on this, Shaitan, as a member of the Divine Nine. How significant is it that more people are being charged? Does that mean that the first guy who actually they said was the only person that hit Caleb, does that mean that he has to be more worried, or what? Why are we seeing this slow unveiling here of more and more people being charged?
They were all there. And in order for them to make their case, they need to all have something to lose. So what we know, or what they highly suspect, is that there is one person or several who's responsible, but they don't really know the one that, wielded the blow that led to the death. And so they were all there collectively. They've been charged with a variety of things. And so some of the charges are more serious than the others. But really, the prosecutor is trying to figure out, like, who did what. And you really have to kind of charge all of them to give them an incentive to cooperate. The other thing is that they witnessed it. So here's the thing, like, for algoritors who are online, and it's hard, I know, or algoritors who are in a crowd watching a fight, or algoritors that are just anywhere witnessing tragedies unfold before them. You cannot just watch, because if you watch, you can be found to be complicit in it, right? If you watch and don't intervene. And so that's why all of these people who were involved in the pledge process are being, charged, is because they were there and they either didn't do enough, which means they contributed to it from the prosecutor's perspective, or they actively participated in it.
Hey, Riri says, I'm Greek. I'm assuming that's Sigma Gamma Rho. And I can almost bet that was the dean, the AD, and I bet the oldest one was the Hell Dean. And we were just talking about that. Because the guys that have been charged here, they are all over the college age. They're all over the college age, right? So
23, 25, and 28.
Do we know if they're students? 28, they're definitely not.
The 28 was not. He's some sort of dean or overseer of the pledge. He's like a pledge.
Probably the graduate.
Yeah.
Correct. And like we were talking about in chambers before, and Attorney Carter brought this point up that, with a COVID year and all of this, there's a good chance the 23-year-old was still a student, but the 28-year-old probably was not, and the 25-year-old is not.
He probably was, an old head or an alumni of the line.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Coming back to check out the line.
Students.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So what happens next here? Carter?
I would suspect, and I think Attorney Turner has it right, is that what they will be using is to make sure that they have charges against the other two who were there and involved, especially the dean who sets it all up. But he isn't necessarily accused of hitting anyone, but he's the overseer. They'll charge him with something, give him a lesser sentence for hazing if he will go ahead and turn state's evidence and be able to bring charges against the actual, puncher. The thing interesting about the puncher, though, is that the puncher has got a decent shot here to avoid manslaughter. It probably, in Louisiana has a hazing law specifically that says if you involve these hazing, we treat it as a misdemeanor versus a felony of manslaughter, right? Where you can go to prison up to 40 years for manslaughter. And you likely, the defense would be is that I didn't know I was doing something so dangerous. We hit people all the time. We've hit people all through this thing, right? I've been hitting people for the last 10 years and they didn't die, literally, right? And that it's possible that maybe this person has some type of, congenital, and I think this will definitely be looking for congenital heart issue that you couldn't have known about. But there's a principle I know the lawyers want to jump in here called the eggshell plaintiff. Yeah, there we go. There. I think we have a graphic for it, but the eggshell plaintiff basically means that if you have you take the plaintiff, the defendant, or the victim as you find them. So if they just happen to be particularly susceptible to something you did, then it's still your fault. If your illegal action ends up resulting in their death, and punching someone in the chest is against the law. But so yeah, I can imagine he won't get the most time, but they're going to probably be looking for a manslaughter conviction here, and at the very least, he's definitely going to serve some time for hazing.
Yeah,
and this lawyer made a good point because I don't know if you guys recall, I think it was 2 or 3 years ago, there was a case at Penn State where a kid died. It was a white fraternity, so it's not just historically Black fraternities or the Pan-Hellenic ones that get caught up in the hazing. And he died because he drank too much alcohol in the frat house, and he, I think, went to sleep and didn't wake up. And then again, they charged like everybody who was there. And his lawyer said it's not like they were force feeding alcohol, which if you're not familiar with that case, it could seem like a gratuitous comment that has no context. But what he was trying to do is say, we know people got convicted for that. This isn't that. And so he's planting the seed to try to distinguish it. And I think Attorney Carter is exactly right. I mean, if anybody's familiar with Omega Psi Phi, no offense, Al, but they're the baddest. The hardest.
Oh, you mean the baddest? Yeah, they are the baddest.
Yeah, that's part of their pride that they pledge people hard. So they're not, I didn't hear what you said, but they're not going to be hard pressed to find decades worth of Omegas who say we got beat too, right? And we're here and we didn't die. And what he did to them is the same thing that was done to us. We're not sure what happened here, but there was no intent to kill.
Right. To kill.
And that's why it's manslaughter.
Right? Pardon me?
And that's why it's manslaughter as opposed to the M word.
Yeah, but they want to take it into the hazing piece alone. But I mean, here's one other thing about criminal prosecutors, and I wish Attorney Ross was here because he could describe it even better than I. But they try to overcharge a little bit. They try to avoid what happened in Casey Anthony, where we were just talking about when by the time they get to trial, they're stuck with something that they can't prove. But initially, they do try to go for something bigger or a higher offense than they ultimately want to land. Because in this case, you have a dead kid, right? So they're not going to start with something that results in people not getting convicted of something because people would be outraged. But you start with manslaughter, which, as Attorney Weiss indicated, it's not murder. And so that can be negotiated by his attorneys to something less and probably land someplace where we're not talking about a Suge Knight kind of prison stay.
All right, I can get that. All right, Algorithms, here's the question for you. Should fraternities with a history of hazing incidents face permanent bans, or can they reform and contribute positively to campus life? Here you go, Algorithms. Should fraternities with history of hazing incidents face permanent bans, especially if the hazing incident leads to a death of a child? Or can they reform and contribute positively to campus life? All right, everyone, be sure to hit that like button. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Also, turn on your notifications and continue to jump down in the chat. This is the part of the show that we go back over the cases and decide if they are guilty or not guilty. First up, Yolanda Saldivar. Is she guilty or not guilty of killing that lady? Well, we know she killed the lady. Is she guilty or not guilty? Should she be allowed to get out or not? Attorney Carter?
I'm a bleeding heart liberal. I do believe that people can serve their debt to society. She can get out, but she gonna have to be real fast and be real shaky because there's still people looking for her.
That's a good point. Attorney Turner?
You know, the parole board might want to reject this on the grounds that she has a death wish and they don't want to promote suicide because she's going to be out like a good 30 minutes before the horn gets out and say, look, right? People were devastated when Selena died. Devastated. And we're talking about all over Texas and Mexico, right? And the way Trump wants to deport people, they might do it and run across the border voluntarily. I'm being a little bit flippant, but yeah, she's guilty. I think she should stay.
Attorney Weiss, guilty, not guilty?
I think she just needs to stay if she wants to live at all. Otherwise, once she's on the outside, she's done. So guilty, not guilty, it doesn't matter. She should just stay in jail for her own safety.
All right, algorithms, put down in the chat. What are your thoughts? Guilty or not guilty? I'm Alan. I'm the judge here in Celebrity Court of Public Opinion. We're going to find her guilty. Guilty as charged. Something's wrong with that lady. That's the ultimate stalker. I just remember her being the ultimate stalker in my head. All right, next up, Le'Veon Bell. Is he guilty or not guilty of sexual assault based on what we know right now? Attorney Weiss, what say you?
He's guilty of being a fool and not going to court and getting the opportunity to plead his case, right or wrong. So guilty. I mean, that's it. Just guilty of being a fool. And like SL just said, guilty of being stupid.
Attorney Turner?
I agree with Attorney Weiss. Yeah, I have no opinion about what he's accused of, but he's definitely guilty of not, taking care of his business.
All right, Attorney Carter.
Just to be fair to him, he does say that he never got the filing. He didn't know. They sent it to the wrong address, sent it to his mama's house, whatever. And I would have believed him if he paid any of his other bills or wasn't running around having babies all over the place. So it's entirely possible that he was irresponsible here. Whether he did the underlying thing, put it this way, it's possible. All right, it's not it's not unlikely. Sadly, we saw in the comments here. It broke my heart. So many people have experienced this, so it's entirely possible that he did it.
Yeah. I'm the judge here in Celebrity Court of Public Opinion, and I'm going to tell you, I don't know if he's guilty of doing this heinous crime, but from that video, he's guilty of something. Guilty of something. I don't know what it is.
I think we're all in agreement. He's guilty of something.
Awkward. It was very awkward. The way he bounced around, it didn't make sense. In the court of public opinion, something in that whole milk ain't clean. It just simply ain't clean.
He can get a man, which I hear is very difficult.
What was that? Right? Somebody, to be fair, one of the people
said he can get a man, but you hear that's very difficult.
Said maybe he has CTE, so maybe he has some football injury that affected his brain, because that interview
was very weird.
Was just so odd. So odd.
Yeah, it was very odd. Guys,
here's the defense.
Go take a look, because I'm gonna tell you, you might change your mind. All right, next up, Suge Knight. Appeal denied. Is the court system guilty or not guilty of letting that man out, Attorney Carter?
No, they are innocent of not letting that man out. He don't need to be nowhere near freedom, and he don't get out until I'm gonna stop being such a wuss. You know what? I don't get you. Suge, you did it. You're gonna be 80 when you get out, and I've seen. Look at your picture there. You ain't gonna let it be 80. Your fat ass ain't gonna let it be 78. I ain't worried about you. You got diabetes. You got the sugar right now. You'd be lucky to make it to 60. So stay your ass there.
Oh God, Attorney Turner, what is going on here? Guilty or not guilty?
I was thinking about diabetes too. I thought that's what happened to his eye, Attorney Carter, because I saw those pictures and I didn't even know you could eat that well in prison. But anyway, somebody did point out in the chat, so I have to clarify. Apparently, Michelle A. also accused him of domestic violence. So she accused Dr. Dre and Suge, and I think that they must have operated under the grounds like, ain't no fun if the homies can't have none. And so they were just passing it around. But anyway, as it relates to him,
guilty or not guilty?
Guilty of not filing a timely appeal. That's what I think is the thing. He's guilty of not filing a timely appeal. And because of that, he's kind of stuck with what happens unless he can find some alternate theory.
Okay, Attorney Wise, guilty, not guilty?
He is guilty of just not paying attention to his own case.
All right, I'm Alan. I'm the judge here in Celebrity Court, and I'm gonna find him guilty of not being timely. I just feel like if you are in prison and you're trying to get out, everything will be done timely
or early.
Or early.
Yeah, what you got to do except for keep track of timelines?
Apparently, he got some good eating to do. He got snacks. He ain't got time to be doing that. He got snacks to eat.
All right, next up, Casey Anthony. Right. Okay, Casey Anthony. We don't even need to discuss that woman. She's guilty. She's found guilty here in Celebrity Court. Casey Anthony, report to jail. All right, last up, the members of Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated and all the gentlemen that are being arrested, are they guilty or not guilty? Attorney Carter.
They are guilty of definitely something. I don't want the young men's lives to be ruined. Maybe it'll be, something less than a typical Louisiana black man sentence, which is usually infinite, right? So, but they're going to have some consequences because a young man is no longer here.
Yeah, Attorney Turner.
I'm going to reserve judgment. Here's the thing, right? When people are pledging, there is great affection on the part of the people who are pledging for the pledges. It's not like a domestic violence situation where they have a relationship and there's hatred that's motivating the actions. So I want to hear what happened because I really, being a member of Divine Nine, this case is just hard for me. But they need to act appropriate, but I'm going to reserve judgment. So not guilty.
All right. Attorney Weiss.
They're guilty of taking things too far. And they're guilty of a life was taken, and there's got to be some sort of penalty. I'm not going to comment on the severity of the penalty at this point in time because I'd like the facts but guilty of being involved, of taking things too far, and this young man losing his life.
All right, my name is Al, and I'm the judge here in Celebrity Court. And I'm going to say this. I think there needs to be some type of change, right? And I think it should start with a physical. I think everybody that pledges should have to take a physical. And I know that sounds crazy, but this isn't the first hazing incident that there was possibly could have been predisposed medical issues that were not known by the fraternity or the university. So I'm just saying, I think for liability purposes, having to have to do a physical isn't hurting anyone. It's safeguarding. So I would rather err on the safe side. And as being a member of Divine Nine, this is very tough. I do feel like that there needs to be some type of responsibility for the actions of the pledge. The people who are doing this type of pledging. But I'm like Attorney Turner. I need to hear more details. All right. So we're going to hold our judgment on the fraternity Omega Psi Phi, even though I want to say guilty. Well,
you're not a You know what, too, Al? Here's the interesting thing about the organizations is that they function as if pledging doesn't happen when everyone knows that it does. And so what you propose is actually a good idea because they're required for sporting, right? For sports, nobody can play a sports unless you have a sports physical. And so in truth, the pledge process is a highly physical activity. It would not condone abuse, but it would at least recognize that it's a physical process and only the healthy should participate.
Right. I agree.
And the other issue would be what Brenda O just put in. Then what about mental health? You'd have to test for that too. So your intention
before you play football, and we know that because there's some crazy MFs playing football. We're just trying to apply the same standard for sports that you apply to.
And plus, also the same standard that you would apply if you were going into the military. You have to do all those batteries. You have to do a mental health battery test. You have to do a physical test. So maybe that may be the direction that they need to go. All right, ladies and gentlemen.
Out a lot of the people I
right, it would roll out. Yeah. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Tonight we've journeyed through a barrage of legal battles and moral dilemmas, from Yolanda Saldivar's plea for freedom to Le'Veon Bell's costly judgment, from Suge Knight's denied appeal to Casey Anthony's controversial rebranding, and of course the heartbreaking loss of Khalid Wilson to senseless hazing ritual. These cases remind us that fame and notoriety do not place individuals above the law, nor do they shield them from the consequences of their action. They also highlight the enduring impact on victims and their families, whose lives are irrevocably changed. As we adjourn, let's reflect on our role in this court of public opinion. Our voices, our judgment, and our capacity for empathy shape the narratives that unfold in the public arena. Thank you for joining us in this pursuit of justice and truth. Until next time, stay informed, stay engaged, and remember, the gavel may fall, but the conversation continues. Court is now adjourned. Thank you for joining us tonight, everybody.